Good evening, everybody.
How you doing? David Moore, Dallas Morning
Hey,
News.
Dave.
Obviously, just start with that play, and then after that, just kind of the bigger picture. You've had a few of these this year with the fake punts, and has this been an unusual amount of failed plays in the special teams over the course of a season from what you've had before?
Yeah, to start with the first one, I assume you're talking about the last punt return. Yeah, so real simply, we had a 7-box return call on that was going to go to our right, and I can give this information because it's on tape. We were vicing their left gunner because we anticipated a punt to the left. We were holding up the right side of their core, and on the back side of it, there's one of two things we can do as far as forcing the punt, because it was a return call, but you always want to have somebody force the punt as far as, rush. And we worked on this a lot. We've done it before, where one of the guys crosses face from one side to the other, and we test the backside B gap just to make sure that there isn't any protection bust. The guard tracked, Buddy Johnson, who crossed face, and the rookie tackle kind of, flailed out. And so our B gap test passed, and nobody blocked Nick, and so he shot it, and that's what happened on the backside. Most of the time, two guys clamp down or one guy clamps down, we just turn that into a holdup. But when the C parts, you shoot it, and that's what Nick did. So his instincts were good because that's what we practiced. The next part of it, he blocked it, and I know you want to ask about Amani, AO, we call him. He was part of the vice outside. The gunner released outside, so Kimon and AO turned and ran with them, basically on their boundary with the back to the action. And AO said that he heard the crowd, which was significant, so he turned back to see what happened, and the ball was bouncing at him. He didn't know that it got blocked. He didn't know if it was a fumble. He didn't know why the ball was where it was. And then so he just reacted probably like I would, see ball, get ball, here it is. I don't know how it got here, but here it is. And so he tried to feel the ball, and it was kind of like an onside kickball, like a drum, and it just took a bad bounce, and he just missed it, which is unfortunate because we blocked the punt, crosses the line of scrimmage, and so the rule changes right there, and we just weren't fortunate enough to handle it after it crossed the line of scrimmage. To your next point, you mentioned a lot of failed plays. I mean, there's a lot of plays in a season. We had, I guess, 2 fake punts you alluded to that, one was incomplete and one was complete. That just wasn't enough yardage gained. I guess you could chalk this one up to one of those two. I don't think this was a failed play. It was an unfortunate bounce off a block punt. I've seen this, special teams disaster. I mean, guys played a great game yesterday, and we blocked a punt, and the bounce took the wrong bounce. So I don't think it's an unusual amount of any plays. I think this is how, the special teams volatility kind of goes over the course of the season. And it's an uncomfortable phase of the game for a lot of people because you never know what can happen with a lot of things that can possibly happen. So, I'll say it again, I'm proud of our guys. Like, they competed hard yesterday. We made a play at the end, and if we would have got a little bit more piece of it, Maris scoops and scores for a touchdown, and then the whole thing changes, and all of a sudden, it's a great call. But that's just not how it worked out. So,
Clarence Hill, also this Dallas. There's a report that Jerry came in the locker room and asked you about the play. Can you explain what happened there? What he was asking about?
And I just walked into the locker room and I walked into the locker room and he was there, and he just wanted to know kind of what happened, what the play call was, and kind of what happened. So I just explained to him that we had a return call on, and we test the backside all the time. And it parted, and a veteran guy shot it, which he's supposed to do if that's what happened. And so it was just a conversation about what happened.
Is there a rule that somebody, says Peter or whatever else? I mean, it looked like Maris was saying get away.
Yeah.
And there's some people that said get away. Did he not hear that? I mean, if you had a chance to talk to AO about it, yeah.
I've talked to AO, yeah.
Did he not hear that they were saying get away from the ball?
So this is football reality. I'm a blocker, and I'm running with a gunner as fast as I can, and the crowd roars, and I turn back to see what happened. I don't hear anybody, and I'm just talking from a football player's perspective. If I'm putting myself in AO's shoes, I don't hear nothing except the crowd roaring, so I'm not hearing Peter calls. And the ball happened on me so fast, there wasn't enough of our bodies around to get like a poison or Peter call. Turpin was behind him, but by the time Turpin started making the call, AO had already turned his back to Turp, looking back at the football. So Maris saw it happen because Maris happened to be right by where the punt block happened. But there was a couple other bodies. There was Buddy. There's a couple other guys that the ball got deflected, and then everybody, tries to find where the ball is. And by the time they find where the ball is, it's hit the ground and it's bounced into one of our guys. So, we can sit and watch the film and watch the TV copies, but that happens in absolutely brilliant flashes as far as timing of things. And the football reality just says, I'm not hearing Peter calls, and I'm not seeing nobody making signals because it happened in about 2 seconds from the time the ball got blocked to the time the ball was touching my hand. So if we can put ourselves in player shoes and how fast things happen, I think that's probably respectful to do. And I told Amani, I said, if I'm a football player and I'm in your shoes and I see the ball bouncing at me and I don't know how it got there, I'm probably going to handle it too. It's fair to absolutely say, hey, it's a Peter call, it's a poison call for the guys that maybe see what happened, but he wasn't part of the core and having any idea what happened. He could have thought it was an incomplete pass or a fumble or a block kick or who knows how many different things could happen. So
you're not the returner. It's kind of like stay away from the ball. If you see the ball, because you're not the returner. So it's not. Is there? I don't know if you guys have talked about if the ball's around, you just get away from it.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, especially from a returner. They're hitting the ball to Turp, and he doesn't want to field it, so he gets away from it, makes a Peter call, and usually Amani's position, they're sensing maybe the returner making a Peter call, and so we peel ourselves out of bounds to get out of bounds so the ball doesn't hit us, which almost happened a couple of games ago with Mukawamu, but he got out of bounds and close enough before the ball, which wasn't fielded by Turp intentionally, almost hit him. So they're aware of those situations, but not, turn around and the ball's there on a block punt situation. That's a unique one for sure. I hope I'm answering your questions. It's a crazy play and it happens fast and yeah.
Todd Archer with ESPN. Is the discussion with Jerry, is that an abnormal thing? Has that happened before, either here or at other spots immediately after a game to have that type of discussion?
Yeah, it's not the first time it's happened, but it's probably not normal. But I understand why it would happen when it happens in the last 2 minutes of the game, in a critical situation, and everybody's still wondering kind of what happened, what the call was, and so it was just a pretty normal conversation from my perspective and his about just kind of what happened. And the play call was a very basic, elementary call. Hold up the right side, force the rush force the punt on the backside. Vice the punt side gunner and try to bring it to where you're holding everybody up. So. It wasn't anything necessarily unique about it, except the fact that we busted their protection and we shot where the bust was and we blocked it. Just the deflection didn't go our favor. I don't know what else to say. Like Nick Vigil's technique was perfection. The way he just shot the B gap and the way he, attacked the ball off the punter's foot, stayed to the same side of the punter, so there was no roughing. So the risk element in that play call I thought was very low.
John, I'm sure with the Athletic, you mentioned talking to AO about it. Did you get a chance to talk to him today? Like, how was he doing? Obviously, it seemed like he was pretty upset about it yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I talked to him right after the game. He had a towel over his head in the locker room and spent a couple minutes, but I know he needed some time. Texted him last night, texted him again this morning, and called him quite a few hours ago. Asked him how he was doing, word for word, and he said, I'm doing good. And I said, good, because you should be doing good. You have no reason to think that you cost us the game or that you made a mistake or that you let the team down. All the words that came out of his mouth, all those things are not true, in my opinion. He didn't let the team down. He worked incredibly hard to come back off of IR after missing 4 games. And he made a play on the ball. And so none of that stuff should be written about AO, letting the team down, making a bad decision, any of that stuff. And he felt bad about it, and I'm glad that he is good today. And I told him that. I said, you should be feeling good. You have nothing to not feel good about because of how you played and then also how hard you worked to get back. And that football happens. I've always said that. Like, football happens, and football happened. The bounce of the ball.
John, this is the Athletic. John, in the moment, as the play is unfolding live, just what were your emotions? I mean, we saw, I'm sure it's just a roller coaster in those 2-3 seconds for you. Yeah,
it was 2-3 seconds. 2-3 seconds of brilliant flashes. I'm I'm looking through the line. I was really watching our vice on the opposite side of the field just to see which direction that gunner released to get a feel if we'd have a chance to get the return started. So I'm looking at the vice, and as they travel that way out of the corner of my right eye, I see Nick flash and block the punt, so my eyes go to that, and the ball bounces once, bounces twice, and I make a quick, like poison call, but nobody's going to hear me or nobody's going to see me. I mean, I'm on the other sideline. That's just what it is. And then I couldn't really tell exactly who hit it first because it was very far away and there was a lot of traffic just from me on the field level. And I thought they might have hit it first and they recovered it, so I wasn't sure if they hit it first. It's our ball. If we touched it first and they recovered, it's their ball. So I wasn't really sure for just a second what had happened, but then once I realized that we touched it first, I knew that it was their ball.
Something similar happened against the Broncos a few years ago.
Yeah.
After that happened, I mean, did y'all talk about it in practice that week? Was that something leading beforehand that everybody was kind of aware of? Because for it to happen twice in a few years just seems kind of rare.
Yeah, I can only think of 2 or 3 times for anybody that's ever happened to, and it's happened twice in 3 years for us. That one was Nashawn Wright, and he was part of the core, and we actually had a rush call on, and we blocked the punt, and it deflected right at Nashawn, who was just about a yard beyond the line of scrimmage. And so I remember that one. If he would have tried to avoid the ball, it would have been close to hitting him. So he just got caught in the shocker, just like AO, in the direct line of the punt block. He got caught up trying to field it too, and he muffed it, and they recovered it for a first down. It's a good memory for sure. But different, way different call, and being part of the core, there's a lot more alertness to what had happened. For AO, he's not part of the core, so for him with his back turned to all the action inside is a totally different awareness, I guess, feeling of knowing what's happening behind you compared to Nashawn.
I guess I'm just wondering, was it a teaching moment that week in practice where, maybe that's not something you necessarily work on week to week? Was it then, and if so, how did it kind of influence the coaching decisions the following weeks?
Yeah, no, I think for sure that week, I remember that. It was against Denver, and we ended up losing that game pretty good to Denver. But we addressed it after that game, and I think we've addressed it ever since that game. Not every week. I can honestly say this isn't something that we address every Wednesday in punt return meeting or every couple Wednesdays in punt return meeting, especially with the outside guys. The inside guys are very in tune with all that. But, yeah, I think we try to address everything. And then there's things that happen that sometimes you feel like, man, I should have addressed that. Like we're in hands team, and they hit a middle dribble to Wanya, and he scores for a touchdown. They're blowing the whistle in the huddle, and there's no TV timeout. Yeah, I forgot to tell them if you middle dribble it and you have a freeway to the end zone, you got to get down. So there's a lot that happens, and if I fail to address any of it, then that's on me. But there's a lot, yeah. Football happens.
Jasmine Monet, Dallas Cowboys Media. It sounds like you're very sympathetic to what AO is dealing with right now, but I'm sure this is a situation you don't want repeated. So as a coach, how are you navigating that space where sympathy and accountability overlap? And what do you think you'll do to prevent things like this from happening in the future?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if sympathetic is the right word. Like these are tough guys, and so am I, and so there's no feeling sorry for ourselves. I just understand maybe the position he's in. And then the accountability part, I mean, I don't know what to tell the guy, you turn around and the ball is right there. I would do the same thing if I don't know what had happened behind me. And then moving forward, with certain guys like AO, I don't know if you guys know him very well, but an incredible pro. In early, takes care of his body, so there's nothing accountability-wise that you worry about with certain guys, and he's definitely one of them. I mean, he'll take accountability for it. I'm sure if you guys get a chance to talk to him, and he'll tell you from his perspective kind of how it all went down. But empathetic, I probably wouldn't say that's the word I use. I think I understand. Accountable, that happens every day in our meeting room and practice field. So, yeah, those are very good words that I think that we all live by. So I don't know if I answered it good, but yeah.
Finish up with Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. You had Wanye return the onside kick, or maybe should have went down. You had some fake punts. You got AO last night. What does it say about your group? Is it, some would say, is it a lack of awareness of what's going on? Is it guys trying too hard to make a play? When you see these mistakes, what do you attribute some of these things to?
Yeah. So you go ahead just one by one mistakes as far as Wanye. Yeah, I think in that huddle, the no moss is the word for it. I just didn't tell the guys, like, if I don't tell them what to do, and they don't do it, then that's not their fault. I don't know. It feels like no, I won't say it. One more time again, Cal. Sorry, I'm trying. Yeah.
You have a combination of these mistakes.
Yeah.
What do you attribute these to? I mean, is it because the players are making these decisions
Yeah.
on their own?
Yeah.
And you are teaching them certain things what they see. So
Yeah.
but there are mistakes. So what do you attribute all
Yeah.
these things to?
I mean, attribute it to me if you want. I think I attribute it to special teams sometimes as the wild, wild west. I mean, yeah, there's very unique situations that have happened over the last couple of weeks, especially Washington game. Like I told you about that. We were on hands team twice, kick return once, kickoff twice, field goal twice, field goal block twice, and punt once in the last 3 minutes of the game. So our guys play hard. If any mistakes you can attribute to me, whether it's AO turning around and fielding a block punt, or Wanye doing an incredible job of fielding a middle dribble hands team. I mean, I understand the criticism, but we're talking about block punts and kick return for touchdowns. That but I get it. It comes with the territory. Moms, don't let your kids grow up to be special teams coaches. I don't know. Go coach quarterbacks and defensive backs or something.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Cal.